Alright, here we go. We are done painting and everything to put on the body panels. We got the fenders, the doors, the inner fenders, all painted. So I'm going to put those on today. And we're going to start with the doors. So here it goes. Alright, got the door on. It's a lot of work. Definitely needed a hand for this. My wife pulled up on this end, and we kind of traded off. I pulled up first, she tightened everything down as much as she could, and then she held it up, kind of helped me align everything while I tightened down the bolts. As you can see, it came out pretty good. Got my gaps decent. So I realized I'm gonna have to paint this white. This is gonna have to get white because obviously it's not gonna look good when you have it like that. You can see orange in the background, so I'm gonna have to paint that white behind the door here. But yeah, definitely a two-person job. First time didn't work out too well doing it by myself. Just because the door was slightly tilted in a little bit, and then it kind of threw off the top body line. Then it was kind of rubbing up here. So it took us a few tries to get it all kind of where it is now. But see, it came out pretty well. Once I put the weather strip on the inside of the door, it'll fit a little better. Like it won't be as wobbly inside the door there. But yeah. Pretty good, pretty good. Working on the inner fender. I got it in. As you can tell, I still have all the bolts loose, just so I can move it around when I put on the outer fender. Ended up having to cut and get this nut off of the back here. This nut was stripped or something. So ended up putting in the new hardware there. But other than that, it was pretty easy. Time to put on the outer fender and this thing will start looking like a truck. Got the outer fender on. I had to basically loosen up all of the inner fender, so it's just hanging there really. I'm about to bolt that back up and should be good on this side. Yeah, this totally sucked. Trying to line everything up and trying to move one side while the other side moves. It's a pain in the butt, for sure. But we got it. Definitely needed some help on this one again. As you can tell, I rubbed right here on the inside over here, and I hit right here. And definitely messed up down here pretty bad as well. So lesson learned on this one. Gonna tape up the other side while I do that one. I'm gonna call it a night now though, once I bolt this inner fender in. But yeah, it's coming together. We go, completely done with this side. Putting all the body panels on and getting everything exactly where it needs to be. As you can see, I definitely ruined some paint. I've been working on this side, passenger side. I got the door on where it needs to go. Everything is lined up pretty decently. I put this piece on, which stops the like airflow, you know, going into the cab here. It is missing a bottom piece that comes over here. I forgot to put it on the driver's side. I remembered while I was doing this, but I do have the driver's side one to put on also. So like I said, door's good to go. Body gap's pretty decent. This was actually pretty hard to put on. This one definitely took a few hours. Just everything wasn't lining up really. Like I rubbed up here. But other than that, it's only paint damage on this door. But as you can see, this gap is a little wider than it is over here. So It's not super noticeable, but it's not perfect, obviously. But everything else is good to go. So I'm gonna move on to putting the front piece on that goes here, and the bottom piece. It's easier to put that on now before I get the other side fender on. That way the last thing that goes on is the passenger fender, and everything else should be pretty easy without that fender there, because it has a couple bolts in here, and the bottom piece, we'll figure it out as we go along. But I remember I was looking back at my pictures and everything from when I was taking it apart, and that's the way to go, is to put that stuff on first and then take the fender and put it on after. So I'm gonna do that now and see how it looks after. Alright, I got this piece ready to go to put in. As you can see, I got my new, well, not new, but cleaned up and painted hood latch. I just have it just hand tight right now, these two. And then once you get this whole piece on right here, we got a bracket right here that's gonna go in. Actually, it goes like that. Alright, got my top piece on, starting to look like a truck now. As you can see, I got new bolts for areas that you're gonna see. And I still have that bracket piece that goes from here to here, and then bolts in here. I got new bolts for right there. Yeah, starting to look good. This thing definitely has a lot of bolts that goes into it, because you got some on the side over here, some on the top, some on the back, all throughout over here. And this piece is tricky because you kind of have to slide it in that way and then tilt it up this way, because it's basically like a raised piece on this that fits inside of this radiator support part right up in here in the upper part. So yeah, and you have to be careful with these. I still have to bolt these in. This is the oil cooler, and it has brackets that go to the top right here also. So I'm trying to use new bolts where I can, that you're gonna see, because obviously it looks better than rusty bolts or painted bolts that end up paint coming off when you tighten it anyways, you know. Alright, so moving on, I'm gonna tighten everything up and put those brackets in and stuff like that. Alright, top piece is good to go. This bracket's in. Got my bolts tightened. Everything's good to go. So before you put this bottom piece in, we need to do the inner fender and the outer fender first. That way we can get to these bolts over here. Once the outer fender is on, we can bolt this in, and then we put that piece on that goes over this. Alright, got my inner fender in there. I just have it mocked up. Got these two bolts on. Just a couple turns in there so I can move the inner fender around. I learned my lesson doing the other side, not to bolt this down all the way until I get the outer fender on, and then I can move it around, kind of position everything where I need. So now I'm going to put the inner fender on, mock it up, get it all exactly where I need, and then bolt everything down. Alright, here we go. Looking cool. We obviously have this fender on and the inner fender. All good to go. Everything tightened down. I'm gonna paint the inside of the fender as well. I'm gonna do that sound deadener stuff in there. But you can see the body line actually pretty decent. Probably gets a little tighter up here, but that's okay. I was looking at pictures of how it was before, and you can tell that this is a little tighter on this side, like the gap between here and here compared to that side. Big difference, right? But I was looking at the pictures I had before, and they match up. You know, that side was a little tighter than that side, had a bigger gap. And I kept everything exactly where it was. So like if I took a bolt out, I put it back in. And same with the body shims. You know, if I had a bolt with the body shim on it, actually I had some with like multiple shims on it, then I would just put the shim on there, and bolt it in and keep it in that spot. So I actually ended up putting in 2 body shims on this side, but that was more for me, just to make myself feel better. And everything's looking pretty good, lining up decently well. Definitely have to like kind of hold a piece there and then bolt it in, but you know, I guess we'll find out if everything works when we go to put the hood on early. But as you can see, I definitely marked up some spots again, and definitely down here, so that sucks, but yeah, I guess that's part of it. But yeah, now I'm gonna put in that bottom piece over here. The black and orange looks so sick. Too bad I'm still doing white on the side over here, and the roof, and the top's gonna be white as well. But man, orange and black looks sick. Looking at this makes me feel good because I got everything's painted, fresh. It's just very dusty. I'm gonna wash this thing once I'm done at a certain point. But seeing all like my new hardware and like knowing I have new leaf springs, shocks, all bushings, new. I mean, this thing's looking good. I got my battery box painted. I had to get a new one because the old one was just absolutely trash. I'm surprised it was actually being held in there. So it's about 8 o'clock here, so I'm gonna let that dry overnight, and I'll get back to it tomorrow, kind of doing the finishing touches of everything that I can right now, and then we'll catch you up after, I guess. Yeah, but I love the inner fenders painted. I plan on doing like this all, like I'm gonna freshen all this up on a different phase, because when I did the C10, I did the engine stuff and like the firewall and all that stuff first in my previous videos I had from maybe like a year or so ago, and you know, I just wanted to switch it up. Instead of doing 2 things, like you have 2 trucks, I don't want to start with the engine on both of them every time. So I was like, oh, I'll do the body first, put everything together, and then that way it gives me a little more motivation, like putting it together, and you know, I'll actually be able to drive it. You know, all I have to do for this is just put the battery in, and it's good to go, you know. So yeah, another phase, maybe like a year or so, when I feel like doing the fenders and the hood again, because that sucks. So yeah, I'm gonna do this kind of like different phases. I'm gonna put everything back together, painted, new, whatever I can now, and eventually I'm gonna do like little touches here and there, like probably custom like rear panels that go on the inside of the back of the bed. You know what I'm talking about. Right here, I'll probably make a custom one. I mean, I have the original and everything, so I'm gonna put the original back, you know, but I'll eventually do like a custom one and everything like that. So yeah, I mean, as you can see, it's coming right along. Hopefully get this thing out of the garage, start it up in the next couple days, and we'll look at it outside. Alright, working on the battery box. Pretty much have it all the way in. See, came out pretty nice. All nice and painted. Just gotta put my battery in and hook everything else up and get my wires all good to go. Alright, got my battery in I just didn't hook it up because I'm still going to be working in here and doing some things. Right now, as you can tell, I have things kind of thrown on over here that go on the inner fender right here. But this inner fender doesn't have the holes for some reason. It only has this one hole. And then you obviously have these brackets and everything else. This also right here is supposed to have 2 holes in the inner fender for this to come through and bolt into that. So I gotta see where everything lines up, and then I'm gonna drill some holes in this and then bolt it down. So that's what I'm gonna be doing now, working kinda on the engine compartment, just kinda tidying everything up. I got some loose things I wanna secure down and everything like that. That way I can actually start this thing whenever I need to start it and everything's good to go. Alright, got all my wires secured. All these are set up. Got my ground wire for my lights. Got all this good to go. Right now I'm working on these brackets. So like I said before, they don't have holes in these. This is from LMC. So really what I did, I put the bracket there, put a pencil through the hole right here. I had it lined up where I wanted everything, and you know, just marked it with my pencil. First did a little pilot hole with a smaller bit, and then I just moved to a bigger bit, and it's actually working pretty good. It's pretty easy. And then we'll just bolt that down after, and we'll be good to go. Alright, we're all done organizing the engine compartment for now. Got my brackets over there. Good to go. I'm just gonna pressure wash the container for the windshield wiper fluid, and then it goes right here. Clean that up, and then we'll put that in there. But yeah. Like I said before, I'm gonna kind of do the engine compartment on a different phase. So yeah, it kind of looks like I'm putting crappy, dirty, old parts back, because I am. Like this doesn't even really work, I don't think. So yeah, I'll get to that another time. Right now I'm kind of just putting everything back together. I kind of want to enjoy the Blazer while it's still summer, so hopefully I can finish everything somewhat relatively soon. Get a couple of nice days using this thing. So alright, we're gonna hook up the battery and let's see if we can get this thing out of the garage. Alright, got the Blazer outside. We're gonna go check it out real quick and give you one good walk around. Obviously I still have to paint the white stripe and the hood, and the tailgate and the roof, but I mean we're moving right along, so let's check it out now.